I'll be here with you. Every time we fall, every screaming night, I'll be here with you. trapped in a box. Locked in a rhythm, stuck behind the bars of his own beat. The boy holds his breath, not understanding what it means. It's okay, he says his brother, 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 brother. Don't look away. Breathe, breathe into your veins. Don't look away. No, no, no one to blame. All the pain. Look shame right in the face. Open heart and say, yeah. Don't look away. Don't look away. Time is locked. The silent scream, stuck above forever, never to be seen. Silver is his cry, picks up one piece by his side, and now we'll place down another, and another, and another, and another. Don't look away. Breathe, breathe into your veins. Don't look away. No, no, no one to blame. Hold the pain. Look shame right in the face. Open heart and say, yeah. Don't look away. Don't look away. No, 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 no one to blame. Hold the pain. Look shame right in the face. Open heart and say, yeah. Don't look away. Don't look away. Don't look away. Don't look away. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yo, hello, internet, how you doing? It's SK Shlomo here, and welcome to today. We have a very special live stream. It is a music tech masterclass. We're going to have a whole lot of fun. It's not just me, though. I've got a special team of people who are here to learn with me, joining over Zoom, and I'll introduce you to them in a minute. But don't forget, today it's a special day. We've got a prize which I'm going to award. I'm going to set you a challenge at the end of the show. It's called Shlo's Creation Challenge, and whoever does the best at the challenge gets to win a pair of Yamaha studio monitors worth lots and lots of money. That's very exciting. So just before I introduce you to my Zoom room, I'm going to do a little performance as well. But before we do that, I want to know where you are, guys. So can you tell me where you're watching from? Where in the world are you? And can you also tell me, is this live or are you on the replay? We want to know if you're watching live or if you're watching on the replay. So let me see a few comments on the chat. We're going out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Mixcloud, and Twitter. So there's lots of platforms happening all at once. But hopefully we should be able to see all of those comments come in. So if anyone has anything to share where you are, we want to know where you are, and we want to know whether you're watching live or on the replay. Now, before we go any further, I've got some exciting people to introduce you to who should be here with me. They are called the Zoom Room. Where are they? Are they here? Hello, Zoom Room. Say hello.
How you doing, guys?
Look at that. They're here with me. Make some noise for the Zoom Room. Yeah. Zoom Room is in the house. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you can see me and everything. This is cool. I've got you on my virtual kind of video wall here. So obviously this isn't what my studio looks like. I've been playing around with the green screen today. It's been a whole lot of fun. So this is awesome. So these guys have kind of come specially to learn directly, which is really, really nice. And we're going to meet them properly in a minute. But I can tell some comments are coming in here. So Tom is in the Scottish borders in Peeble. Hello, Tom. Abigail is in Nottingham. She's watching live. Murray is live watching on the bus journey home. Hello, Murray. I'm sorry you couldn't be. He was supposed to be in the Zoom room, but he had a nightmare today and couldn't make it. But this is going to be fun. Hello, Zoom room. Thank you so much for being here. We will meet you properly in a second. But before we do, I just want to show you a little bit of the kind of thing you could expect from an SK Shlomo performance involving lots and lots of music technology, which is, you know, if you've seen me perform before, you know that's what I do. So you ready for me to show you what I do?
Yeah.
I said, are you ready for me to show you what I do? You know, that should be playing a really cool little gift, but it's not. I don't know why. Let me see why. Oh, well, it's got sound effects, but we haven't got gifts. I'm fine with that. So let me take it away.
walking on the moon. Don't hardly touch the ground, walking on the moon. My legs don't make no sound, walking on the moon.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Oh, thank you. Oh, stop. You're too kind. You're too kind. You're too kind. You're too kind. So, that is what we call beatboxing. That is what we call live looping. That is a bit of fun. You can do so much. It's only limited by your imagination. And I want to encourage the world to do more with technology, to do more with their voices, to do more with the music that's inside you. Because the more you use these muscles, the easier it is to get what's in your head out there. And I feel like there's been times in my life where I've been able to practice and just express myself so that I don't even have to think. And that is that's like a flow state. And that is such a great place to be for yourself. Do you know what I mean? For your well-being, just to be able to express yourself like that. So that's what I'm encouraging people to do. There's some lovely comments coming in here. Andy and Helen, hello. They're watching live in Hook. Mickey's in the Philippines. That is awesome. We're around the world. Where else are you watching from, people? We want to know. We want to hear. But what we're going to do now is we're going to meet my lovely Zoom room. In fact, before we actually meet you properly, I feel like we can make some music with you guys. What do you think about that? Like Zoom. So you guys are here. You can see them behind me. Let's see you guys waving. Make a little bit of visual noise. Okay, that's cool. I've got technology that I've been messing around with, which hopefully means I'll be able to turn you guys into music, right? So what I need you to do is make a sound. Should we do it one by one, or should we do it all at once? I don't know. Let's try it. Let's have a volunteer to go first. You have to make any sound you want, and I'll turn it into music. Okay, Tom, you look ready. Can you make a sound? The longer the better, because then I can capture a sort of snippet of it. You ready? Everybody give it up for Tom. Yeah. All right, Tom, just make any sound you like, and I'll see if I can turn it into music.
Are we talking one sound or multiple sounds?
Yeah, we got it, mate. That's great. Thank you very much. That's good. Now, who wants to go next? Who wants to go next? Lucas looks ready. Lucas, you can make any sound you want, but a nice long one. It can be anything you want. Yeah, go.
No, I can't hear you very well.
Oh, you can't hear me very well.
I can't. Autobox can't either.
Can you guys not hear me very well on the Zoom? If you cannot hear me very well on the live stream, can you tell me? On the Zoom, I feel like I could probably do something about that because you've got two different sound mixes. Let me see. So, is that any better? 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, that's much
Definitely.
Is that better? Is that now going to distort though? Is that not distorting if I do that?
That's good.
Yo, how's that? Is that good?
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, who's going to go next? Oh, we just had a volunteer, but Lucas was going to go next. Lucas, you ready to make your sound? Here we go. 1 2 3. Oh, and caught at the end of it. Do another one of those, Lucas. Oh, I didn't hit anything when you did. Do it super close to the mic as loud as you can, Lucas. I think it's cutting out a tiny bit. Ready, steady, go.
Get that.
Yeah. I got you. Okay, who else? Who else wants to make a little noise? Aussie Box wants to make a sound. Here we go. Ready, steady, go. This is fun. Okay, who else is there? Who else wants to make a sound? We've got plenty of space here. Who's ready to go next? Emmy looks ready. Emmy, what are you going to do for us?
Something slicey.
That's lovely. That's really, really good. Well done. That's cool. I've got 4 more slots on here. Have we got 4 more people? Yeah, we have. Look at that. Look at the mathematics, everybody. All right, Paul, you're going to go next, Subsonic.
Yeah, I'll do it, man. Let's go.
Keep doing it. What I got isn't the sound you're making, but I quite like it anyway.
Oh, what?
That's quite fun. Who else is going to go? Simon Dundas, would you like to give us a little noise? This is actually working way better than I thought it would. Natasha, would you like to do a noise for us? I actually got you umming, which I really, really liked. I like that even more than the whistles. Let's go with that. That's cool. Got one last slot here. It's going to go to Sarah Golding in the house. How are you, Sarah? You going to make a noise for us?
All right, thanks. Okay, no beatboxer, as you know.
Cool. Now I've got some noises from all of you. In fact, I might be able to show you a bit clearer what I'm doing here. Can you see that?
Sound.
Yeah, that was good. That was so much more successful than I thought it would be. That was really, really cool. That's really fun. So I've got these noises here that I just sampled through the internet for my friends here over on Zoom. And I'm going to try and build that into like a proper thing. Let me see what I can do with this. Like, if because I can, those are like one-shot samples. And if you want to, we can go really deep on how I'm doing this. We can really get into how this is actually happening, depending on how deep you guys want to go today. But they're one-shot samples. So one-shot means you hit it and it just plays once. But then I can sample those one-shots into my looper over here. These buttons down here are my loopers. So I could do like a... And then I can also run them through effects. Oh, thank you very much for that illustrious applause. Stop. That's so kind of you. That's fun. Okay, this is going pretty well. I think that this whole situation, I'm enjoying myself. Are you guys having fun? Are you guys having fun up on the Zoom room? Are you having fun there? Let me see some smiles and waves and noise if you're loving it. Yeah, this is fun. This is cool. If you are having a good time today at home, please tell us how you're doing. There's some lovely comments on here. Yeah, everyone's saying that the audio is good on the stream, so that's good. But yeah, this is open. So these guys in the Zoom room, they get direct tuition from me. But anyone watching as well, you guys can also ask any questions, and I'll try and answer as many as we can before 10 p.m. And this is going to finish. Murray says, "Whoop whoop." I'm glad you could join the stream, Murray. Murray had a ticket for tonight, but then he couldn't be here because he's had a nightmare at work. So at least he can watch. So that's good. And Murray, you can watch. You can join us next month on next month's music tech live stream. And if you're enjoying this today, you are able to support me. You might know that lots of musicians and artists are really struggling at the moment because we can't work. We can't go and get on stage and do what we do. So we've lost all of our income. So if you'd like to buy me a coffee, I'd really appreciate it. I won't even spend it on coffee. I'll spend it on food for my children. Tom says, awesome stuff. Love the bird's eye view. When I first read that, I thought you said, thought you were saying something about my eyebrows. I don't know what's going on with my brain. Why would you? I love the eyebrow view. No, nothing to do with my eyes. Okay, this is good. So Zoom room, are you guys having fun back there? Are you okay? Have you got everything you need? Does anyone need a cup of tea or any kind of words of encouragement? No, you guys look happy. You look pretty happy. Okay, cool. So what I want to know is what you guys want to get out of today's session. So people watching on the stream, please tell us what it is you need to know, what it is you're looking for out of today's session. And then let's kind of meet a few of these lovely people on the Zoom room who've given up their time and, and energy to be with us today. Let's meet some of these people and ask them, what is it that what would you like to get out of today? What would you like to learn? I can see some of you are typing it all into the Zoom stream, into the Zoom chat, but I can't read that super easily. So let's unmute and we can speak about it. So shall I ask a volunteer to go first? So maybe we'll start with Sarah because you went last. Sarah, what is it you'd like to get out of today's stream?
Wow. I've got a Boss RC202 loop station that I was given in September for my birthday, which I'm so lucky. I feel so excited about. But I'm a bit lazy. I should probably get on the YouTube and look at the tutorials. But I'm interested in understanding I can use the loop on one line, on one side of it. But what I'm interested in knowing is how to use the other side and how to take things in and out.
Amazing. So Sarah's got a loop station, which is, so I'm using my kind of own mad emulation of a loop station. I've got an actual loop station here, which isn't plugged in, and I'll talk to you guys a little bit later about how I built my kit. Oh, look, see, Emmy's got a loop station there. That's the same as one I've got, the RC505, which is, it is actually more powerful than the one Sarah just mentioned, but it's the same kind of idea, like the same principles apply. Anyone else in the Zoom room got a loop station? Raise your hand if you got, oh, there, everyone's got, Lucas, everyone's got theirs ready. Sarah, have you got yours nearby?
I have. I've even got it all like linked to an amp.
This is cool. We can have so much fun. Anyone watching at home, if you have a loop station, tell us which one you've got and if there's anything you particularly want to know about it. Abigail has got an RC505 too. These are very popular. They're absolutely amazing. And do you know what? The whole system I'm using is emulating the RC505 because I loved it so much. I just wanted to make it more powerful. So I actually built my own machine. This is Beast. Her name is Beast, not The Beast, which really annoys me. Every time the press write about Beast, they call her The Beast. It's not The Beast, it's Beast. Sorry. And I had to build Beast myself because I had to try and make, I couldn't quite get it to work the way I wanted, so I had to learn how to write software, and I can talk to you about exactly what I did. And a lot of that was emulating these classic loop stations like the RC505. So Sarah would like to know more about how to learn use her looper and use her extra channels. That's lovely. Who else? Simon, is there anything you'd particularly like to get out of today?
Just to learn what equipment you're using, really. I was intrigued by that, the one with you were using to modify the sounds with the purple rim around it in the middle of our screen.
Oh, the thing with the purple rim around it. Do you mean...
You're using your finger to moving it around as if maybe it was modifying the
Do you mean this?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. And what is it?
This is an iPad, and it's running some software called Touchable, which is just a really cheap app, but it controls Ableton. And I can talk you through how I've got that set up and how I use it. It's also emulating something else. It's emulating a piece of hardware called a Chaos Pad that I used to have in my rig. And what I love about it is this XY pad. So XY pad means you can control two effects at the same time with one touch, because if you move your finger up and down, you're controlling one parameter, and left and right controls another. So this particular purple one is called a beat repeat. And if I turn it left and right, it will change the length of the loop. And if I go up and down, it will filter the loop. But the iPad isn't actually doing any of the processing. That's actually happening on the laptop, and I'll show you later on if you like. And it's really up to you what we do with this. This is your time, and we can go really deep on it if you like, and I'll show you exactly how I've got it set up. But I'd also recommend, if you can get hold of one, either a Chaos pad or a Chaos app. They're both made by Korg. The apps are much cheaper than the hardware and do very much the same thing. If you already have a tablet, an iPad, or an Android tablet, you've already got basically what you need. So, yeah, we can get more into that as well. That's cool. What else would we like to know? Paul Subsonic, what would you like to get out of today?
For me, I'd like to know how do you sort of keep in time when you're sort of live looping on the loop station, like keeping to the sort of the 4 bars and the 8 bars, and also like how would you connect up a Chaos Pad 3 to an RC505? Like, if it's better to have it as the input or as the sort of the master output sort of thing. If that makes sense.
Absolutely, these are great points.
Cool.
So the second question was, how do you connect your Chaos Pad 3 to your 505?
Correct,
what was the first question you said?
It was like, how do you stay in time, like musically, when you're sort of live looping? Is it just a case of like freestyling and then keeping it to a set structure, like 4 bars, 8 bars, and stuff like that?
Yeah, how to stay in time when you're live looping. This is great. I can cover this for sure. In fact, the next month's session in December, we're going to be going mega deep on live looping. So that's the one where I want to really dive into live looping, live streaming, and live performance. But I can definitely cover those things. In fact, really briefly, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you can keep in time with your beats, because that is probably the single biggest challenge with live looping is timing. And that's something I find really, really hard. And the real tip is to get your first loop bang on. And if you do mess up your first loop, do not persevere. Do not do the thing where you keep doing your song with a wonky loop, because it's horrible, it's uncomfortable. It's much better to acknowledge the fact that it went wrong, have a little laugh about it, and start again, because that proves to the crowd that you're doing something real and live. Thank you, that's right. So you can use this in a way to help you show the crowd this is a real thing. So you get your timing right on the first loop. The way you do that, if you've never live looped before, we'll go into this more deep next month, but you can basically, you have to hit the button on the 1, and you have to hit the button again on the 1. So if you've got your beat going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you hit it on the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then again on the 1. So let me show you like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. It's as simple as that. And if you slightly mistime it, it won't work. So you've got to really practice that kind of hand rhythm coordination. And once you've got it in time, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. It's then you're jamming with yourself. You're kind of your own drummer. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I don't know. I guess like your question, Paul, about how do you keep in time, and like do you structure it in like a 4 bar or an 8 bar? Like that depends on how powerful your looper is. But I was really keen to have a looper where you can have different lengths on your different phrases. So 1, 2, 3. That's a 1 bar loop that I've got going on phrases 1 and 2. Let me show you the overhead. This is phrase 1. This is phrase 2. But then I could do phrase 3. I could do a 2 bar loop if I wanted, like yeah, 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 or I could on 4 I could do a half bar loop if I wanted, like just a really short one, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So I think everything works in maths. It works in subdivisions. So you're going in halves, 1s, 2s, 8s, 16s. And like if you listen to most kind of popular music and dance music, that's how most electronic music, and in fact most folk music, most kind of modern music, is in a 4/4 time signature, and it's broken up into groups of 4 bars, 8 bars, 16 bars, 32 bars. It's all in multiples. So it's kind of mathematical, but if you're really in the zone, you shouldn't be really thinking about the maths. You're just flowing, you're just jamming, you're exploring. So that is how I structure my loops. Let's keep asking these guys what they want to know. Aussie Box, what was the thing you mainly wanted to get out of today's session? Come say hi to everybody.
The main thing I wanted to get out of today's session was to learn about your setup, to be honest. I mean, I do live performances as well. But like Sarah, I've got a loop station, I've got a RC505, but I just can't seem to figure out just getting stuck into it, you know. But obviously I want to learn my trade as a beatboxer, and yeah, that's why I'm here.
RC505 is such a powerful tool, and I'm gonna have it rigged up for the next month's Music Tech Masterclass, which is a month from today. And I will go really, really deep on how this thing works because it's such a popular tool.
I'm still struggling a little bit slow mo. It's a little bit audio.
Are you still not hearing me that well in the Zoom, guys?
It's still a bit low.
Let me turn it up. I feel like maybe it's when I'm just talking that it's too low. Is that a bit better?
Yeah, when I can't hear you very well at all, but when everyone else is is fine, it's great.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't hear you, Shlo, very well through the mic.
Okie dokie. I'm going to turn it right up.
Like a Zoom
1,
thing
2.
with, the disables,
I think you're a bit soft spoken.
Is that better, guys?
Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah,
right.
much better. I don't know why it dropped from when you rectified before, though.
I turned it up. So it's just because when I speak, it's a lot quieter when I perform. Because if I do this, is that not too loud if I do that?
A little bit. You have to adjust it throughout.
Yeah, we'll play around with it. Okay, that's cool. So Ozzy wants to know more about live looping and how to use his looper, and we'll go into that. Emmy Hush in Brighton, what can we do for you? What would you like to learn today?
Hello, I've got so many questions. I've been working with the 505 for like quite a long time, taking my songs that were kind of piano-based, kind of verse chorus onto the looper, which is probably not a typical way to use it because the kind of way I used to write was with a lot of different chord sequences and moving between sections of songs. So I've kind of pulled back a little bit from that, although that was a really good way to learn how to use the machine and everything. And so I'm playing a lot more with kind of actually mantra type loops at the moment, which is quite cool.
Nice.
But my main, I guess it might be a question for next month, but my main thing that I'd like to know a bit more about is how to kind of not get audio bleed when you're using a lot, like when you're using a looper on stage live and you want to get layers of vocals, but you don't want your mic to be picking up everything that's happening live?
Yeah, that's a really good question and a really big problem for live looping. One that I found the hard way when I first started live looping on stage, because when I first started performing, I was playing at raves and clubs where the sound is really, really high, and they'd have like drum and bass DJs on all night, and then I'd come in and plug in a mic and a looper, and it would just go absolute haywire, so much feedback and an absolute... My first few shows were so horrible, so uncomfortable. But the way to do it is you've got to try and keep the stage as quiet as you can. And if you use a dynamic mic, what mic are you using, Emmy?
Well, I've got...
Looks like a Sennheiser.
Sennheiser for kind of my live looping, but then obviously I haven't got like a pop shield because I like to hold it. So I don't know if like the pop shield thing's a bit of a problem or not.
No, the pop shield won't really filter sound. It'll just stop wind noise and stop pops and clicks. But when you're vocalizing, I always try and get people's faces close to the mic as possible. So pop shield, we don't need that unless you're like out in a field somewhere.
I've also got this is more like for kind of my recording studio stuff when I'm recording into like...
is that a Rode NT2 or something like that?
Yeah, it's a Rode, yeah.
Oh, Emmy's got some gear. This is so fun. I love geeking out about
all
gear.
the gear and no idea. Like I have used it all, but I feel there's so much deeper to go with it. So yeah, I just thought you might give me a few ideas.
Absolutely. This is do you know, this was just an idea a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I miss teaching. I miss like connecting, because I actually learn a lot by teaching. So I'm really happy we're doing this today. I'm having a good time just geeking out with you guys. But yeah, definitely that SM58, stick with that if you're performing live. Sorry, not SM58. That's Sennheiser dynamic mic, which is very similar to the one I'm using here, SM58. And that will stop audio spill, hopefully, because they're very directional. So if I pull the mic away, you won't be able to hear very well. The mic needs to be very close to your lips, which means hopefully it shouldn't pick up the sound of the monitors or the speakers too much. You shouldn't get too much feedback. But yeah, try and keep the stage as quiet as you can. And then the actual ultimate answer, which is quite expensive, but the real answer is you use in-ear monitors. So I have a monitor pack here in my pocket, wireless monitor pack. I don't know if you can see that, which is connected into a transmitter here on my rig, which I can show you.
Is that super pricey?
Very pricey. I can't remember how much they are, but they're like, upwards of 500 quid.
Okay.
It's underneath there, the transmitter, and it means that, but this is like pro level stuff. Like I use this on festival stages when I'm playing to like thousands of people. You need to have really, really robust kit. So that's worth it for the level that I got to. I really needed to do that. But if you're not kind of able to afford that, the reason why that's expensive is because of the wireless. If you're able to stand still, you can run headphones directly into your output, wired headphones, then that's much cheaper, and it does the same thing. You can reduce the level of the sound going out, so you can hear it really, really clearly in your ears. It's just once you've had a go with in-ear monitors, you will never want to go back because you can just hear everything so clearly, and you can control exactly what goes to your ear.
So is that like the equivalent of, rather than having a monitor facing your way on stage, you would have it in your ears instead, so that nothing's kind of coming back to the stage?
Yeah, you keep the stage as quiet as you can, so you don't get feedback into your mic. If this makes no sense to people watching, feedback is when the sound comes out of the sound system and into your mic, and then that can go into your loops. And but I've had some really crazy fun out of that as well, like where, do you know what I mean? Someone smashed a glass in the back of the club and it got sampled into my loop, but it sounded really sick, and then I started affecting it, and do you know what I mean? I think keeping an open mind and not getting, not getting too stressed out about these things and keeping it playful is a really, really cool thing. I've got a question here from Sarah. Lenny and Sass watching. Lenny9 is self-taught and would love to learn more from a master. Oh, hello, Lenny. I can't believe it. You're self-taught and you're 9 years old. That is awesome. We've just been talking today to Ableton, who make the software that I'm using, and we're talking about maybe doing some music tech classes for kids, which would be really fun. So watch this space, Lenny. Bruce in London just signed up, bought a ticket, but chickened out. Oh, Bruce, no, don't chicken out. Oh, there's no sound with that. That one's got gifts but no sound. Boo! We don't chicken out. We're a kind bunch. We're just gonna play. We're not gonna do anything scary. How come that one had the gifts but this one didn't? Oh, there's the gifts. Hey! Such a geek. So let's keep asking people what they want to get out today. People watching from home, we'd love to know what you'd like to get out of it today. So, we've had comments coming in here from Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. It's lovely to feel like different parts of the internet all connecting together. So tell us, what would you like to take from today's Music Tech Masterclass? This is your time and your energy. So Simon Lyon is in the corner of our screen here. Let me put him on. If you are a regular on my live streams, because I live stream every Thursday, you will already know Simon, because me and him did an entire session last week remixing classic tracks, and we made, what did we make? We made like a drum and bass version of
Dr. Alban.
Oh yeah, we did a drum and bass version of Dr. Alban,
yeah.
And then we did like a reggae version of David Bowie or something.
Town, David Bowie. David Bowie meets the Specials.
It was so much fun. So I live stream every Thursday, and one thing I often do is I get another producer on and we'll just jam around. We'll just make new tunes out of old. We did that last week. You can actually rewatch that if you want to see that, with Simon, who is an Ableton genius. In fact, that's who I was talking to earlier about doing streams for kids. But Simon, I feel a bit intimidated having you in the room, with you being like a certified Ableton trainer.
Man. Happy to be involved. It's wicked. Really good.
We've got all range of people here. Abigail Moore can't believe that we sampled Dr. Alban, but of course we did. Why wouldn't we?
I brought my instrument.
Oh, keep doing that. Keep doing that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. Oh my goodness.
That's what I meant.
That was fun.
That's what I meant.
Huh?
That's what I meant to do that.
Yeah, that's what you wanted, wasn't it? That's what you wanted. Murray says that session was awesome. It would be so good to have another. Yeah, we're going to keep doing them. I want to get loads of other producers up on the stream. I'm streaming every Thursday, guys, and I'm seeing a few regulars here, which is really lovely. Welcome back, Tricky Dicky Porto. Welcome back, Murray. It's so nice to see these people coming in every week. That's really nice. And so, Sai, is there anything you particularly wanted to take away from today?
Just to see how these amazing people get involved is fantastic.
Nice.
All good.
You're just here to have fun. That's cool.
I'll just keep throwing you little bits of music now and again.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. Like, that's what I'm missing. It's so difficult just not being able to see humans, not being able to just like jam, and to be able to do that across the internet. Like, it's slightly blowing my mind. So thank you, everyone, just for being here with me. This isn't just for you. This is for me too. Okay, Lucas, I just realized you can't actually see the Zoom room. Hey, Lucas.
How's it going?
I'm standing right in front of you. How do I get out?
Yeah,
Let's just do this.
Can you hear me? I'm good.
I can hear you.
Coming
Just a bit
through?
crackly, but we can
Am
just
I a
hear
bit
you.
crackly? That's annoying. It's on my ASIO interface. I don't know if I can do anything.
Sorry, we can understand what you're saying. You just sound a bit robotic. And people on the stream, I just want to know, people who aren't on Zoom, can you hear everybody on the stream? Can you hear everybody on Zoom okay? Just leave me a thumbs up just so I know you can hear everybody on Zoom okay. But yeah, Lucas, could you tell us what it is you wanted to get out of today?
Yeah, I wanted to know a little bit more about the ins and outs of your setup of Beast, and also some of the functionality you seem to be using with the push, whether it's possible to do that on other hardware like the launch pad Mark
Absolutely.
1 or something like that, because I see what you're doing with one-shot samples is really cool. And I have another question as well. Have you heard of Beat instant sampler from Beat Labs, or do you know of any other solution for live sampling? So you have your MIDI already written, and then you just live sample your sample into it, and then play it. Because
Yeah,
it's
there's a
what I've been
few.
wanting
I
to
did
do
use
for
Instant
time.
Sample for quite a long time before I built this version. I ended up building my own one in Max. If you know what,
sweet.
If you don't know what Max for Live is, guys, it's what do you call it? Like a software language. What do you call it when you write software? My brain is completely gone, but it's a coding language.
Yeah, it's a programming language.
Programming
for music.
Thank you. It's a programming
and
language, but you can use it to hack Ableton, and you can use it to hack Push, which is this machine that I use here on the table. Mark says, I'm clueless and learning a lot from all you clever people. So interesting. Oh, this is fun. But yeah, so Lucas, I did use Instant Sampler for a long time. It is quite cool, and it's kind of very lightweight on the CPU, so that's nice. It doesn't use up too much processing power. But there's one other one which is really fun that I've only had a small play around with that Beardy Man uses. If you guys don't follow Beardy Man, you need to go check him out right now. Well, not right now, but as soon as we finish this, because he's just such an inspiration to me and everybody else in this world of kind of live electronic creativity. But what is it called? I'll find out when I'll post it afterwards. He has a plugin that he uses, which is really powerful for like instant sampling. And the other one I used to use is what's it called? Simon might know. Granulator or something. There's
Granulator. Yeah, Granulator.
Yeah, within like Granulator 2, the Robert Henke one. Is that
that's the one. I used to use that, and I made a hack using Max where I could sample straight into it without having to touch the laptop, and that was really fun. So I can share that with you too. So cool. There's only one person left who hasn't asked a question here about what they would like to get from today, and that is Tom, who I see. Oh, if I go that way, you'll be able to see him. It's so confusing because I'm mirrored, so he's down here. Hey, Tom, and who's that? Who's with you?
This is my son, Theo.
Hi, Theo. Welcome to the show.
He snuck in. He didn't pay, I'm afraid.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's not okay. No, it's totally okay. That's good. So, Theo and Tom, tell us what would you like to take away from today?
Well, so I've got no gear and no idea. The only gear I've got is the THTC shirts.
Yeah, nice.
So look, Shlomo, I mean, what would be good is to understand, is there something that you'd recommend that we ask Father Christmas for?
Well, the first
we've got Ableton, we've got a computer, but what else?
You've got Ableton and a computer. That's good. That's a really good start. I mean, that is really all you need. But do you also have like a tablet maybe or an iPad?
Yeah.
Theo's sister uses it all the time for Roblox. We could maybe steal it from her.
You can rip your sister's hands off of Roblox for 10 minutes. There's some great apps that I would recommend, which I know you said Christmas, but a lot of them are free. There's one called Endless with 3 S's.
Endless?
Yeah, which is a really fun app because you can jam with other people in real time across the internet.
Cool.
There's one called Soundtrap, again, that's free. And there's one called DJ, spelled DJAY by Algorithm. Again, that's free. I'm using that here. I'll show you that. I use that for DJing all the time, and they're all free. So I know you said Christmas, but maybe, do you know what I mean? It's a pandemic, so I've heard Santa's got lower budgets than normal. So free apps are always good.
Excellent. How about one? You see that little MIDI keyboard that you've got there?
This one.
Yeah, is it worth getting one of those for jamming in Ableton and stuff? Or
yes, I'm just putting it onto that thing. This guy here is the, what do you call this? It's the LPK25 by Akai. I love this one because it's so tiny. It's quite hard to play because it is so small. It's really easy to like sort of hit the wrong keys. But it's very, very cheap. I think it's like so cheap, like 30 or 40 quid. And it's very portable. So you can like jam with it on a train. I mean, as if you're going to catch a train, but you can do anything you want with it. So that I would recommend something like that. And these guys too. Hang on, you can't see that, can you? These guys too, also by Akai. They're called LPD8. And they basically have 8 drum pads, which you can also use to MIDI control things, and 8 knobs. And they're, again, really lightweight and very cheap and very easy to use. And just, I would recommend getting something with buttons on, because I'm always trying to get people away from clicking with the mouse. Clicking with the mouse is not super musical, but like using your hands and using a physical interface. I would always encourage that in any way you can if you're using software. Let's see. Murray says, I've been playing with Endless a lot from my iPad. It's really easy to use and it's great fun jamming with other people. I love Endless. I'm going to post a link to it at the end. It's really, really fun. I was a beta tester on it and I'm friends with the developers. A guy called Tim Exiles, the guy who started that, and he is a genuine live looping bona fide pioneer who's really inspired me and lots of other people. So I would recommend Endless. It's totally free. You can pay to kind of get unlocked features, and even that's cheap. So yeah, big up Endless. So this has been fun. It's been really nice to know. And at home, if there's anything that you want to get out of today, I would love to know that too. So leave that in the chat, leave that in the comments. Tell us what it is you would like to get out of today. I'm already getting what I needed to get out of today, which is to feel connected and feel like I can geek out. Geeking out. Like, that's the main thing I would encourage you to do, guys, is just not to be afraid to tinker, not to be afraid to mess around. Like, so even today, I've kind of had this this piece of green material behind me that you can't actually see right now. It's been sat there for weeks, and I haven't got it out and had to play with it, but I really wanted to have my Zoom room behind me, right? Because I don't know if any of you guys were at the birthday rave we did, but actually I know some of you definitely were. Natasha was, Paul was, Simon was. And we did a birthday like rave from home, and one thing that was so lovely about that was we had the crowd, you guys, behind me on these kind of giant 3D video walls that were like placed diagonal to each other, which made like a kind of 3D space. And that was so fun because I felt like I could actually interact with people and point at them, and like, it was good. It felt really strange but good, and I wanted to do that with a green screen. So I've just spent like most of today tinkering, just fiddling, just exploring, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. And like that, for me, that's such a satisfying process, just messing around, like not trying to necessarily do anything huge. Like, so the main advice I'd give you guys if you're trying to like make progress is don't focus on like the end goal. Just focus on the little tiny playing arounds that no one's ever going to judge. It's just for you to have for fun. Like, going back to the very first question that Sarah said, which was like, I've got my looper and I can do some stuff on it, but I don't really know what to do next, and I should probably watch some YouTube tutorials and da-da-da. Maybe, Sarah, or maybe maybe there's something in your mind which is holding you back from just exploring and just playing and just sitting there for an hour and just having a bit of you time and just playing. And we all have that voice telling us, oh, that's not good enough, or you won't be good enough at this, or essentially you're not good enough. And I struggle with this so bad. It hurts me every day just feeling like what I'm doing isn't good enough. So painful and very much part of the human condition. So I really encourage you to just explore, just play, just see what all the different settings do. Like, that for me is so much fun, like geeking out and just seeing what all the things, every single feature something can do and how you can like power use it. I would definitely play around and encourage people to play around. Tom Stroud is watching on Twitch. He says, what was the other free app you mentioned? I think I mentioned 3 free apps, Endless, Algorithm DJ, and What was the other one? It's gone out of my mind now.
Soundtrap.
Soundtrap, yeah, which is, I'll post a link to all of these at the end. It's really, really good fun, and it's free, and anyone can play. Oh, Aussie Box has got a guest with him. Who's this?
This is my little rugrat. So Jojo, say hello.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. Trust me, it's past his bedtime.
Oh, no. Let him stay up, let him play. Oh, man, you're killing me. You like to beatbox?
Yeah. Well, if he gets to talk, yeah, eventually he will.
Oh, sweetheart, this is lovely to have you on the stream. Welcome. This is a very
Thank you.
Open platform, family friendly. This is lovely. Okay, good. So I want to talk to you in a bit more depth about my setup today. I'm here to kind of give you a little studio walkthrough and a little exploration. Bruce says, I used to use an Amiga with a sampler and Octamed making electronic loop music, then had a Yamaha QI22 portable sequencer. Loved it, looking for an easy way back into making sample-based music again. Well, I recommend these apps. They're so fun. They're so free. If you've already got an iPad or an iPhone or an Android device, you have so much technology in your house already that, you know, young you would have just dreamt about. So now you've got it. I'm not saying you're not young you anymore. I just mean younger you. I'm not saying that you're old now. You're not. It's all good. So, okay, I want to give you a little bit of a walkthrough, guys, of everything that I'm using, just super briefly, because today's session is a kind of studio and equipment walkthrough. Then in a month's time, in December, we're doing a really deep dive into live looping, live streaming, and live performance. And then in January, the third part of this series, we are going to do a really deep kind of playing around with your creative technical workflow. So basically, you're trying to interface between the creativity, the ideas you have in your head, and the technical side. And when they work together, it's a beautiful thing, but it takes a lot of experimentation and getting things wrong. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So today is a walkthrough. I'm going to really briefly walk you through my whole setup here. So I am using lots and lots of toys. I'm basically a kid in a toy shop in my studio here at home. I absolutely love playing around with my stuff. So this is Beast. This is my machine that I built from scratch using commercially available controllers and commercially available software. In fact, I can show you the software if I do this. This is Ableton. This is, if you don't know what Ableton is, it's a DAW, which stands for Digital Audio Workstation, and it's basically a studio in a box on a computer. And I use this for live looping. I also use it for my studio sessions, for making my albums and my tracks. But I have a massive session on here that I use for my live shows. How many channels have we got here? 47 channels there are, and that's not even including sends. So it's very complex, but it's actually made up of some really, really simple principles that I will talk you through. So here is Beast, which is... So none of these things on the table here are doing any control, are doing any processing. They're not doing any processing. They're just controlling the computer, and the computer is doing all the thinking and all the actual processing and all the actual stuff. So just to talk you through really briefly my setup here, that this is Push 2, an absolutely beautiful piece of equipment. It's like, it's kind of mappable color, what do you call it, like RGB color coded buttons which are dynamic. So none of these buttons do the same thing. They do, they change what they do based on what situation you're in, which is incredibly powerful. And then I've hacked Push using Max for Live, we mentioned earlier, which is a software language, a programming language, which enables you to hack Ableton and hack Push, so you can control it in a way it wasn't built to be controlled. So what I've done is I've hacked these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5 buttons at the bottom and the 2 ones above them. So these 10 buttons here, if I press this button here, it activates what I call loop mode. And that's hacking these buttons to control them, to essentially emulate my RC505, right? So if you've ever used an RC505, oh gosh. The mirror image thing's killing my brain. If I move to the left, it goes to the right. That's an RC505, and it has 5 channels of looping. So it's kind of like having 5 loopers all synchronized together. And I really wanted to emulate that using software. So I've created 5 instances of Ableton's looper. Which I'll show you here. Looper. So looper. You might not be able to see super clearly. But this device here is called Looper. looper. Looper, and I'm controlling it with the push. Looper. Can you see it's changing what it's doing? Looper. It's really not that clear to see, but let me try doing this a different way. So that's a blank looper. And if I press the button on push, it controls it. Yo, 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 yo. So when it went red, it was recording. And now it's gone yellow, it's looping. If I press it again, it'll overdub. Overdub, it goes blue. Overdub, it goes blue. Overdub, it goes blue. Overdub, it goes blue. That's my latest hit. So that is how I'm controlling 5 instances of looper, and it took a lot of work for me to manage to persuade push to give me visual feedback. So on push, the buttons blink in time. It goes blue. I need to stop that one and do a new one. So these buttons will blink in time, and they will show me what the loop is doing. If it's playing, it's green. If it's overdubbing, it's orange. Orange, yeah. Orange. And if it's red, it's recording. Red is recording. Red is recording. Red is recording. So that took me a lot of time just to persuade it to watch what Ableton's doing and control what Ableton's doing and show me, because what I was really trying to avoid was ever really touching the laptop whilst I'm on stage. I really can't bear that when you go and watch someone do electronic music and they're not watching the crowd, they're not watching the room, they're just in on their laptop, and I'm like, dude, I feel like you've just hit play and then spent the time looking on your Facebook. Like, we're in the room with you, man. So that's why I really like to have controllers, which mean I never have to touch the laptop. And so, yeah, there's so many buttons on push. I don't know if you can see how many there are. There's 64 of the pads, but there's all these buttons around the outside. Every single one of them you can hack using Max for Live and change how they work. So, for example, I can scroll through my set. I've got a device that I hacked from somebody else on Ableton. This thing here at the bottom is called Song Selector, that I found someone had started an idea that I really liked, which was you can press these buttons and you can move around your set on push, so it can kind of control where you are in the show. But I wanted to hack it so I could control it with push buttons. I would share this with you guys, but I have no idea if it would actually work, because I'm not really a software developer. I've just made these things for myself, but I'll share them. They might work. Who knows? And
Hello, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Dive in. I'm just interested in how Ableton is actually communicating with the push with your, emulated RC505 buttons. Like, what's the relevance of Ableton within your set? What's it doing, sort of thing? Because I'm not quite clear.
Ableton is doing everything. So push is controlling Ableton, but it's not actually doing anything. It's just telling Ableton what to do, and it's telling me what Ableton is doing. But the computer is doing all of the work. This is a really high. I had to buy a really expensive Mac. It cost me a lot of money, but it's worth it because it's how I make my living. Well, it used to be how I made my living when that was legal, but now anyway. But yes, so Ableton is doing everything. So I used to have a very complicated setup where I was using my RC505, going through Ableton and having different effects happening on Ableton, but it was getting really complicated. Like, there was all kinds of problems with time lag. And I was trying to emulate my hardware setup. In fact, there was a question that Paul asked earlier, Subsonic, which is how can you hook up your Chaos pad to your RC505? It's actually really, really easy using a MIDI cable. So on the back of your RC505, you'll see this MIDI out and in. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not super helpful, but there's 2 ports on the back, MIDI out and in. You need an old school MIDI cable and an analog cable. So you go from the out on your MIDI, you go to the in on your Chaos pad, and then you can synchronize the tempo between them so that all the effects go in time with each other. So when I started using Ableton, I was trying to emulate that. I was trying to lose the Chaos pad, lose the RC505, but have the exact same functionality within my controllers. Does that make sense, Emmy? Does that answer your question? Oh, I think you're muted, my friend.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm a little bit slow with, I'm looking at myself too, which is horrible. Sorry. Take myself off. yeah, I'm a little bit slower understanding all of the way everything connects up, because I've been working just with the RC505, and I feel like it has got its limitations. So maybe this is a way that you've kind of answered some of the limitations I've started to come up against. But yeah, just from what I'm looking at now, it looked to me like you were actually just making loops, and I wasn't quite sure what the Ableton was. Is it that there's like samples within Ableton, or is it just, I might be being a bit slow?
You can do all of that. Basically, Ableton is incredibly powerful, and when you combine it with Max, it's just endlessly powerful. You can essentially make it do anything you want. So I do use it to play samples. So like when I'm playing album tracks, so I've got a song here where I start by playing a bit of piano, and then I'll sample the piano in. So that's now gone in, right? And you might have noticed a couple of things. I don't know if you did, but the keen-eyed of you might notice two things. One, the view on that you were looking at changed automatically when I triggered the scene. So I'm actually sending MIDI information out of Ableton into my other computer, which I'll talk to you about in more detail next month, which is controlling the live stream, so that I can actually control my camera angles and things using Ableton. You can use Ableton to control lighting. You can use it to control video. It's so incredibly powerful. So that's one thing you might have noticed. The other thing is that I didn't have to press the button to end the loop, and that's because you can do automation within Ableton. So I've got a huge amount of automation built into my sets, where it will automatically go through cycles and things and play the right sample at the right time, change the right effect at the right time. It's so configurable, and that is, like, for me, really exciting. So once I've got to this stage in this song, I sample that in, and then this next scene I'm going to trigger. This next scene I'm going to trigger is actually going to start playing some pre-recorded loops. Yeah, 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 oh yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, they want me. Yeah, they want me about you. So like that's now playing pre-recorded kind of track, but then I can also trigger things. It's just so powerful. You can configure it in any way you like. So I don't know. I mean, if you had the choice between choosing a hardware looper like a loop station or messing around with Ableton, I think the entry level can become a bit higher with the software, because you have to also have some kind of hardware to interact with the software, and that can get expensive. But you know, this is top level stuff. This is pro level stuff. If you want to get really, really deep, you can't get deeper than this. I don't think, you know.
I think it sounds exciting to use Ableton that way. I think I've only used it for like making songs, like making tracks in the arrangement view rather than using the live looping. It sounds really exciting, so thank you.
Yeah, it's great I use it as well in arrangement view to make tracks, to make kind of traditional songwriting tracks. I do that too, and that's another really fun thing. But yeah, using it as a live performance tool is just incredibly powerful. Tom on Twitch says, how long did it take to get you to a place with Push and Ableton so they work seamlessly together? That hasn't happened yet. No, I'm still a work in progress, very much a work in progress. But yeah, it took me about 6 months of coding just to get this first prototype of Beast working. And that was like really geeking out on that. But you don't need to go on that level. You know what I mean? If you just plug Push in to Ableton, it's completely integrated. It's built by Ableton, so it's out of the box. It is incredibly powerful and really easy to use. So, yes. Yeah, let me carry on with my walkthrough here, guys, because this is fun. This is good. But I like that you jumped in, Emmy. If anyone else has a question, don't hold back.
Quick question, Shlomo, if that's okay. Theo's very busy on Endless, the app that you recommended, but he did ask, what's the microphone you're using?
Good question, Theo. I'm using a Shure SM58, which is a great mic. They're completely indestructible, although I have destroyed one of them before, much to Shaw's disgust. But they're normally completely indestructible. They last you forever. But and they're not that expensive. They're about 70 or 80 quid. But you can get a cheaper, much more destructible, but still really quite good mic called a Behringer. Oh, what is it? Simon might know. What are those really cheap Behringer dynamic mics called that are really good? I'll find it out. But you can get them on Amazon for like 15 quid, and they're really quite powerful. So that would be a good starter mic, potentially for Theo.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool. I am going to zoom back into this this walkthrough while I can. How are we doing for time? Yeah, we're actually using up a lot of our time, which is great. That's what we're here for. So, yeah, that's push. I'm using push to control Ableton. We talked about my LPK. This guy here is called a TC Helicon voice tone synth, which is a really, really fun hardware pedal that I couldn't get rid of. My goal was to get rid of all of my hardware processing and only use software, but I couldn't find anything that did this in such a cool way. Basically, you can turn your voice into a synth. If I turn it on. It's really, really fun. But I don't think they make it anymore because I tried to buy a charger for it when it died, and it seems to be discontinued. So this is my only kind of like vintage piece of kit that I've got. I've had that for a long time. We talked briefly earlier about Touchable, which I'm using here on the iPad. And this is, again, a really powerful controller for Ableton. So you can use it in various modes. You can use it in a kind of, no, not that. You can use it in a kind of, a bit like a push. So you can like control all different scenes and clips. You can use it as a mixer. So you can like, oh no, don't change those levels. You can see all your different kind of channels on there. You can use it to control pretty much any plugin or device in your Ableton session. You can use it as a keyboard, just like push. But I like it for the XY pad to emulate the Chaos pad. So I've got 4 different setups on here, which control different effects. So let me just put a beat in so I can show you the effects. That's when it's playing. Yo. So, I'll just show you what these all do. Yo. So I've got, it's lovely because they change colour when you press them, they change colour. So you know, without having to look closely, you know which one you're on. So this first one is a kind of glitch effect. 1, 2, glitchy. So I built that by emulating a Chaos pad effect that I really loved. The second one is beat repeat that I showed you earlier. And I can show you what they're actually doing on Ableton because I had to build little racks on Ableton that would emulate the Chaos pads. Let me show you real quick. Go to the rig there. And yeah, this is it here. I don't know if you can see this, my Chaos pad emulator. So when I move when I move my finger over the pad, it's controlling these. Can you see those wheels turning? I don't know if you can see that, but and if you open this up, you can see exactly what's happening. There's all kinds of effects in here that I've used. I've used the beat repeat Ableton plugin. I've used some delays. That's it, really. It's very, very simple. Yeah, I'll close that back up for now. What else have I got on here? I've got the this one kind of chops the beat up a bit, like put a bigger beat on. So I love that one. I'm using Tornado, which is a great plugin. I'll show you that real quick, if it will let me show you. Tornado is here. which is a great plugin. You can control loads of stuff with just one dial. But all it's controlling is this little plugin here called Slice Arranger, which is basically chopping up the sample and then changing the order of those slices. Really, really simple, but really, really fun. Recommend Tornado. It works really well live. It doesn't mess up your CPU too much either. And then the last one, this one on the bottom here. Let's go back to overhead view. On the bottom here, I've just got like some delays and filters on there. Which are great for like build-ups. And they're just, most of this is just using Ableton's built-in devices because I find they're the most economic in terms of CPU. If you don't know what I mean by being economic with your CPU, basically your computer only has a certain amount of power, and the more things you ask it to do, the more likely it is going to glitch out and get upset. And you can get away with, you can kind of do a thing called changing the buffer size, which means it can process things without glitching. But then you get a thing called latency, which is where the sound is delayed, and that can make it really hard to perform. So it all becomes a bit of a balancing act. There's lots of messages on here. Israel says Behringer XM8500. Thank you, Israel. That is the microphone I was talking about for Theo, which costs like 15 quid, and it's really good. Comrade Murray's in the house. Big up, Comrade from the Beatbox Academy. He says, I see you, Sarah. Because Sarah Golding, who's on the Zoom room, used to work at BAC, Battersea Arts Centre, where we founded a group called the Beatbox Academy, who are now like world famous superstar theatre makers with Conrad as the director. So big up, Conrad. Tom on Twitch says, when you have a second, talk to me about cables. You're speaking my language. Like, no one's asked me to talk to them about cables for a long time. Comrade's laughing. Woo, haha, big up. Yeah, I'll talk to you about cables. I'm using an XLR cable for my microphone. I'm routing all of these controllers through a USB hub, which is called StarTech, I believe. I just got that one from Amazon. It's got 7 USB 3 ports so that they can all just go directly into the laptop over there. Don't know what else I can say to you about cables. They're not. I think the two types I've got are USB cables and XLR cables. Yeah, and just to finish this little walkthrough, I want to show you one other little tool which I absolutely love, which is this little guy here. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that on your screen, guys? I can't see if you can see it. I might have to move this camera a tiny bit, but up here in the corner, you can just about see it there. This thing here. This is called Leap Motion, right? And it's an infrared sensor. It basically means you can wave your hand in front of it and control effects by waving your hand, which is so fun. Love it, and it's very much a broad brushstroke thing. It's hard to predict what it's going to do, so I use it for like wild gestures. But if you are interested, I can show you how that's working and what I've mapped it to, because again, it's not doing the effects, it's just telling Ableton what effects to do. So that is a very, very brief whistle-stop tour of my setup for performing, and I'm really going to briefly kind of talk you through my my studio setup as well. And I feel like if I do this, you should be able to see the studio a tiny bit. No, not that. That. There we go. So there you go. Now you can see the room that I'm actually in without my green screen. If I turn it around here, you'll see the green screen. So that, you know, the Zoom room aren't really behind me, guys. I hate to ruin the illusion, but this is this is just a studio in a house. Yeah, I just wanted to really quickly talk you through my setup here. So I've got another computer here that's controlling that's my studio laptop. I use that one to do all my music production when I'm making my albums and my singles. And at the moment that's running lots. It's going crazy with its CPU fan at the moment because it's running Zoom, it's running Ecamm, which is my live streaming software, and it's kind of doing a whole bunch of processing all at once. And there's my Zoom room, you can see them there. I've got some lights that I've got off Amazon, which aren't brilliant, but they're good enough. There's some soft boxes, but I would like to upgrade them. I've got my Focusrite sound audio interfaces down here. I've got a Scarlett, 2 different Scarlett interfaces, which are kind of controlling the sound going out into the internet. And I've got these puppies, my Yamaha HS monitors, and this stream we're doing today is kind of in partnership with Yamaha. They've given us a pair of these to give to you. And in a minute I'm going to set you guys a creative challenge. So I'm going to give you guys some homework to do and ask you to make a piece of music, which when you send to us, we'll watch together on our next stream. And we'll choose a winner and you'll get to take home a pair of these studio monitors. They're absolutely next level. They're kind of iconic. If you ever see the kind of white cones there, you know these are some of the Yamaha HS series. They kind of replaced the classic NS series, which are still really sought after. But I'm really proud to have them in my studio. And that's the kind of basic setup. This is my Rode K2 mic that I use. Oh, I'm standing in the way of it. I use that to record my album tracks when I'm singing vocals. Absolutely beautiful valve mic. There's another mic down here, a Rodecaster, which I use for a lot of live streaming. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Oh yeah, you might not be able to see it, but down here there's a... Can you see that? Yeah, that's a Novation launch key, which I'm only using today for triggering things like this. That's really fun as well. Really powerful controller. Yes.
Have you got a lot of soundproofing going on in that room? Because I do a lot of home vocal recording, obviously, like you, and I don't have anything yet. I've got a new boxy room that needs some soundproofing.
Do I have any soundproofing in the studio? The answer is I don't have any soundproofing at all. What you can see around the edges of the walls there is actually acoustic treatment rather than soundproofing, where there's 2 different things which are easy to confuse. But soundproofing is to stop sound coming in and stop sound going out. So if you don't want to annoy your neighbors when you're making lots of music, or if you don't want them to annoy you, you can soundproof. But that involves a lot of work. You need to basically build another wall within your studio. Oops, activated my leap by waving my hand over it. You need to build another a room within a room, which is kind of like not major building work. It's not actually that much work at all, but I haven't done it in this room. But I have got a lot of acoustic treatment, which is different to soundproofing. And what that does is it alleviates echo in the room and stops the room fluttering around. So when you're recording on a really, really, really sensitive mic like that guy that can pick up every little sound in the room, you don't want the sound to be bouncing around. You want it to be really, really clean. But I found this to be incredibly effective. This is a really cheap kind of foam vocal booth that I got off Amazon. Honestly, it was like 20 quid or something. But the difference it made is insane. So that and the studio, the foam you can see on the walls as well is very, very cheap as well. Also just from Amazon. I think it was like 50 quid for a huge box of the stuff. Like, you can spend so much money on studio stuff, but I wouldn't really encourage you to spend a lot of money. You don't really need it. Do you know what I mean? People are releasing songs with tracks that, vocals that were recorded on an iPad. Like, the tech you already have is mad. So I wouldn't recommend spending loads and loads of money unless you're into that. Unless that's really enjoy geeking out on that side of things. That's cool. But
yeah, that's lucky. Lockdown, no one's got any money, so it's definitely good news. Thank you.
Yeah, money's tight right now, so we've got to make it go far. But I can post a few links to all the different things I've got in my studio if you want to get them. I can show you what everything is. Yeah, did I tell you about everything? Oh yeah, there's one more thing I wanted to talk to you about kit-wise, which is my DJ setup that I've got, which really was so simple. I haven't got an overhead camera on this guy, but I'm using Algorithm DJ, which is free software, free iPad app. And then I've got a mixer called a Mix Tour, which I think costs about 100 quid, 150 quid. It basically interfaces with the iPad and enables you to do a kind of full DJ set without having any decks. You can control all the effects from this thing here. And you can also, you can do the whole set without really touching the iPad too much. So you can like load songs and scroll through things by pressing the buttons rather than touching the screen. So I love using that for my DJ sets. I think that's everything I wanted to talk to you about in terms of my my studio stuff. Does anyone have any questions about that before we kind of set you guys this amazing creative challenge and tell you how you're going to get to win the prize of the Yamaha studio monitors? Like, has anyone got any questions about the stuff I've just talked you through or anything we've talked about at all? And that goes for you guys at home as well. If there's anything you want to ask, don't be shy. In fact, I feel like I've lost that comment stream. Here they are. Conrad says, I would love soundproofing. Mad expensive. Yeah, I agree. Israel, how much RAM and what processor does your computer have? That is a good question. Let's have a look. I have no idea. My computer is about this Mac. MacBook Pro, 16-inch, 2019, 2.4 gigahertz processor, 8-core Intel i9, 32 gigabytes of RAM. That should answer your question. And it works fine. It's beautiful. Best computer I've ever had. It got upgraded because my other computer got stolen out of my baggage in an airport, but luckily it was insured. And then when the insurance came back, they gave me they have to give you the equivalent of what you lost, right? But they didn't make the equivalent of what I'd lost anymore, so they had to give me a much more upgraded one, which I was very happy about. I mean, I wasn't happy that my stuff got stolen, but at least there was a happy ending. Who else has a question, guys? Loads of comments on it. So nice to have all you kind of commenting, gang. Thank you so much for being here. It's lovely. I'm also seeing there's loads of comments on the Zoom, but I can't put them onto the stream, guys. So don't put the comments on the Zoom chat. Unmute yourself and say it. So Tom's saying, loving the Sports Direct mug. We've all got one of these. I don't even know. I'm not going to promote that on the stream. I think they're actually not very ethical company, are they? But
is it tea or coffee, Shlomo?
It's peppermint tea, my main vice.
Peppermint tea.
Yeah. Any other last chance for questions before I give you this creative challenge, guys? Did you kind of, all the people in the Zoom room, did you get what you came here for? Emmy, do you have a question there?
Low sounds with my voice using the RC505 because obviously I've got a higher voice than you and any guy. So yeah, so that my loops sound nice and balanced through all the different frequencies.
Love it. Great question. You can use on the RC505, you can use a pitch shifter, which I've got an emulation of here. Have I? Yeah. Hello. So I'm using a pitch shifter to go down. Let me show you it, to go down an octave, so it goes down 12 notes, 12 semitones. Yeah. Which I use for like big fat bass lines. And that's emulating the RC505. So there is an input effect on your RC505. If you've ever used one of these.
Yeah, I've used the input and the output effects, but I can't say I've got a lot of joy from like getting a really nice low vocal using those. So
have you tried pitch shifting your voice down an octave?
I'm just looking for, is that within the main input effects?
Yeah, in the next month's stream I'm going to have my RC505 wired in, and I'll have a camera over it so we can go really deep on it. But yeah, or guitar to bass. Someone's saying, yeah, Paul's saying that on the Zoom chat there.
Yeah, that's okay, it just sounds a bit naff, but I just thought maybe there's something else that I could plug in that might do something good to my voice, or maybe in Ableton, that be the place to go.
Yeah, Ableton, there's millions of plugins you can use to do stuff like that. Really, really fun. Lots of free Max for Live devices as well that I use. Yeah, 100%.
So I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's first steps into Max for Live and making their own devices. What would be your advice as someone's first steps into that?
So my advice, if you were going to make your first steps into developing Max for Live devices, is obviously start really, really simple and make sure you have a goal. Like, I feel it's really, really hard to learn. Like, the idea of just learning Max for Live is like that's
instant sampler. The
Yeah.
goal is the right instant sampler, because it should have. I've wanted it for like 10 years, looking at Ableton, going, why doesn't Simpler just have a record-in button?
Yeah. I mean, I had the exact same thing, and I did it. I built my own one-shot sampler. I can send that to you if you want. It's in Max for Live. But you can also
if
build
you could
one
send
yourself.
it to me, if you've got documentation as well.
I have
Because I'd like to build
nothing
one
of the
myself,
sort.
but if you've
I don't even know how it works. I don't even know how the code works. I built it, I bult it years ago. But what you can do is do what I did and just
I'd
fiddle
love
around.
to look at it and see if I can figure it out.
It isn't that complicated. I'm using a thing
I'd
called
love to.
a buffer in Max for Live.
Buffer shuffler, or buffer input.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty simple.
I know it, but they never. You follow all the kind of like instructions on the obscure forum somewhere, and then it does something, but it doesn't do quite what you wanted it to do.
Maybe we can do a super nerd out session of these where we actually start building Mac. We can do some coding. If people want to do that,
Oh yes, please.
we can go
That'd be
deep.
great.
And I'll have to relearn what I learned.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
All right, so we've got one taker for a mega nerd out. Yes, Ozzy.
Yeah, thanks for doing this today. It's been brilliant, really
Pleasure.
insightful. My question was, which one do you have more fun with, your Boss loop station or your the Beast, really?
Did you just call it the Beast? Because she's called Beast, just to clarify.
Okay, well.
Sorry to tell you off like that, but we have to be strict about our boundaries.
I'm learning.
I'm just playing. But I definitely have way more fun with this. Like the 505, I love it, and I also love the fact that I can just chuck it in a backpack. So I often just rock up to shows where I'm doing. I do a lot of jump up. I say this like I still get to do it, but before, in the time before when we were allowed to go and do shows, I did a lot of jump up shows where it'd be like a mixed bill or a comedy night or something where I'd get like a 10-minute slot and I wouldn't get a sound check. And I just literally I'd carry it in a backpack. I've carried that RC505 around Glastonbury in a backpack and rocked up to do a show, and it's really powerful. But when I'm doing a whole show, when I'm doing my full hour or like 90-minute show and I want to go really deep, this thing is just unmatchable. Like I just love how much power and control it gives me.
Okay.
I'm not saying you
so
have to
you
do
recommend that. No, I mean like I said, for me, I just want to start to learn my trade. And the way you manipulated the sounds, it was just like it was expert level. I'm very impressed with everything, and
Thank you.
I want to learn. You've inspired me, so I'm writing down my list of equipment. I don't know if I think I can afford all of it, but what I can do.
Do you know what? I wouldn't even dive into buying loads of equipment. I would start off with diving into like apps. I would start off with Endless, play around with Endless. We'll mess around with that next month as well. It's such a great app because it has a thing where you don't have to decide what you're going to loop until after you've done it. So like people like Sarah who've been messing around with a loop station and struggling a bit, you might love Endless because you just keep jamming, you keep singing, right? And it's always recording. And then when you've done something you like, then you press the loop button and then it loops that. And that is actually genius. Like that's my next goal, is to build that into this, so that like pressing record before you've thought of something is the wrong way around. It should be after you've done something good, you keep it. Do you know what I mean? So I would say go with Endless and then build from there in terms of using software. Yes, Sarah.
So thanks for that. I'm definitely going to look at that app. That's really great. This evening, you've been speaking about the RC505, and obviously I've got a 202. Do you think it's still going to, it's all right? It's
Absolutely.
okay?
202 is the same as 505. It just has 2 channels rather than 5. And it has the same effects, has the same capabilities. It is not the reason why you might feel frustrated. You'd have the same feelings as you would with the 505.
So I'll still be able to. Is there a limit on the layers that you can put in if you have a 202?
Unlimited layers, so you can stack up, and you can have 2 of those sets of unlimited layers. Your 202 is an extremely powerful device. If anyone else has one of those loop stations, you can do so much with it.
Yes.
You don't need anything else, Sarah. You've got it right there. You just have a play.
I do not. You're right.
Someone on Twitch says, want to become famous? Buy followers, primes, and viewers on this site, bigfollows.com. That's a really good idea. I think that's how I'm going to become famous, by buying followers. That's great advice. I'm joking. That's not great advice. Never do that. Never ever do that. You've got to build your followers, because if you buy them, they're literally just empty bots that don't actually do
You are
anything.
famous. We love you.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. Guys, I see Tom raising his hand. I think we've got time for one more question, and I want to set you this challenge.
Just a quick one, because I did used to love the DJ app that you recommended earlier, but then Spotify stopped working with it.
That's right.
Do you have an alternative?
That was an absolute nightmare, and I think I cried. Actual tears, because I had all my playlists on Spotify. That I'm now using Tidal, and there's a great migration service that they give you, which can transfer all your playlists over to Tidal, and it costs the same as Spotify, so that kind of is fine. But also, I've quite enjoyed importing my own MP3s. It's a bit more fiddly, but then you can, like, the problem with using Spotify and Tidal is you've only got the songs that are on there. Where I've started doing a lot more like remixes and edits myself to play in my DJ sets. So using actual files, I know it's old-fashioned, but it does still work with DJ, and I still do that quite a lot, and that's fun. Guys, this has been amazing. I have some exciting news for you, which is that you could win a special prize. You could win a pair of Yamaha monitors, just like the ones I showed you earlier. These guys here.
Hype.
Someone say something.
I said hype.
Hype, yeah, exactly. Yeah. In fact, here we go. If you want to win a pair of Yamaha monitors, all you have to do is enter my creation challenge. So this is my music tech masterclass. I'm doing this every month. So I stream every Thursday, and every fourth Thursday I'm doing this masterclass where we get to geek out. And every month I'm going to be setting you guys a creative challenge. So this month's creative challenge is a chance to win a pair of studio monitors courtesy of Yamaha. Thank you, Yamaha, for supporting me. I really appreciate it. And here's your challenge. You are going to create a piece of music using any music technology that you like, but if you use one of the things we've talked about today, like a loop station or a free app like Endless or Soundtrap or DJ, I'm going to post a link to all three of those at the end. I want you to create a piece of music. Now, that can be a video, it could be an audio, it could be a performance, it could be a remix, or it could be a screen grab of you jamming on one of those apps. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some stems. So if you don't know what that stems are, basically I'm going to give you one of my album tracks called Stardust. I've got it loaded up here on the DJ. This is a tune called Stardust. It's from my album Surrender. I love this tune, and we never had any remixes made. So I'm going to give you guys the stems. So if you don't know what stems are, it's like all the separate layers of this tune. So you can have the bass, you can have the drums, you can have the vocals, you can have the keyboards, all separate from each other. And then you can mash them up, reinterpret them, mess with them basically, affect them, manipulate them, whatever you want. It's completely up to you how you interpret this brief. But I want you to use these stems as a starting point for the creative challenge. I'm going to give you 2 weeks to do your homework and submit your song. I'm just going to bring up on the screen here a link. skshlomo.com/creation is the place to go. If you go there, you can download the stems. Oh, God. I'm in the way of it. You can download the stems, and you can also, there's a link there to then send your creation in. And there's also a link to those 3 free apps that I mentioned, Endless, Soundtrap, and DJ, which is what I'm using here. So I'm going to give you a super quick example of how you could potentially perform with these stems, reinterpret them into something fresh and something new in your style, right? So I've got the stems in a folder here. I'm going to choose one at random. I've got this one here called ARPs. So these are all the arpeggios from that song. So you can hear they're isolated from everything else, so you can mess around with them. So I'm going to make that into a little loop. That's nice. And then I might affect it a little bit. Some at 144. I'm going to set my Ableton to 144 BPM. I might change the tempo actually. 137. That's a really, really brief example, but what I'm saying is you can do anything you want with this challenge. Like you could re-sing the song. You don't even have to use the recordings. You just have to use that song as an inspiration point. It's completely up to you what you do. So it could be a audio-only remix that you might make and send in, or you might make a video of you making a performance, like using a loop station or an app. Or it might be just if you just hit screen record on your iPad and just mess around with Endless and sample some of the sounds. And there's millions of ways you can do it. Someone on Facebook called Conrad Murray says Sarah's going to win. Well, that is possible. That is very possible. Sarah could win, but so could anyone else in the whole internet. So anyone can enter this. It's not just people in the Zoom room. You guys watching at home, you can do this too. No purchase necessary. So I'm going to give you 2 weeks, and then entries close on the 3rd of December. So go to this URL that I keep standing in the way of. Can I move it? Oh no, it's moving me. skshlomo.com/creation up there ahead of me. If you go to that URL, you'll be able to download the stems. You'll be able to download links to the different apps that I'm suggesting. You don't have to use those. You can use any kit you want, any form of music technology you want. And on that same link, you can then upload your creation by the 3rd of December. The entries are now open and they close in 2 weeks' time. And then a week later, on the 10th of December, I live stream every Thursday. And on that Thursday, the 10th of December, we're going to play some of the entries on this live stream for the public to hear. And I'll give you some feedback and some love and some encouragement. And the crowd are going to choose who they think deserves to win the Yamaha HS10 monitors. Yay. And the runners-up will get tickets for next month's masterclass. So the runners-up will get to be in the Zoom room for next month's masterclass, absolutely free of charge. The winner will also get those free tickets as well. So thank you so much. Now, this is a monthly stream that we're doing called Music Tech Masterclass with SK Shlomo. If you want to watch next month, it's absolutely free to watch the live stream. If you want to be in the Zoom room, like these lovely people, it is only £5 a ticket. It's literally a token. I only wanted to make it a token so that people actually showed up. That's the honest truth. The only reason I'm charging to join the Zoom room is so that people actually show up. It's not about the money, it's about getting people inspired about using technology and expressing themselves. So if you want to be in next month's Zoom room, there's only a few places and a lot of them are sold already, so you need to go in now. We're going to be doing a deep dive into live looping, live streaming and live performing, the 3 L's next month. But every week I stream, so you can join me next Thursday too, just have a bit of fun. Make music, make DJ sets, live looping, beatboxing, all of that stuff. Massive love to everyone who's been in my Zoom room. You guys have been amazing. Can you please give them a huge round of applause? Yeah. You guys smashed it. Abigail says thanks very much. See you next month. Bruce says thanks very much, Shlo. That was cool. You're welcome, guys. Thanks for being here. It really means a lot to me to feel connected to the world at this most strange and difficult of times. And the last thing I'm going to say is if you haven't got New Year's Eve in your diary, you need to put it in there because we're very close to announcing this massive project that has almost taken over my life at the moment. I'm really excited about it. It's a big free party on New Year's Eve that we can all be part of. So it looks like we're going to be in lockdown on New Year's Eve. They've been saying that in the papers today. They might open up for a few days over Christmas, but New Year's Eve, it's going to be illegal to see your family and friends, which is horrible. Tricky Dicky Potter says, love a geek out. Tom says, booyah, cable love. Tom says, cable love. That's amazing. Murray is applauding. Thank you so much. Thank you, Zoom Room. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Now go and make your creations. You only have 2 weeks to do it. There's the link right there. Go and spread love, spread music, spread creativity, and we're going to have loads and loads of fun. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys live next Thursday at the same time, which is 8:30 GMT. Bye-bye, Zoom Room. Bye-bye, everyone watching at home. Thank you. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye,
Thank you.
goodbye, goodbye.
See you,
goodbye.
cheers.
Thank you,
Thank you.
goodbye, goodbye.